At Trinity Skin and Beauty, we believe in making you feel your best. Whether you're looking to smooth, refresh, or rejuvenate, we offer expert waxing and luxurious facials tailored just for you. Experience our signature facials that hydrate, brighten, and nourish your skin. Feel the stress melt away with every touch. Say goodbye to unwanted hair with our quick, professional waxing services, leaving you smooth and confident. Relax, revive, rejuvenate. Visit Trinity Skin and Beauty today, where beauty meets relaxation. Call Calandra today at 601-953-9476 and book your appointment. And oh yeah, tell them Sonia sent you.
She say sports. She say sports. She say sports. She say sports.
Hey y'all, it's your girl Sonia, and welcome back to She Say Sports. March is Women's History Month, and all month long we will be talking to some amazing women doing some amazing things in our community, in our world. Please welcome back award-winning journalist and host of Listen In with KNN, Kelsey Nicole Nelson.
Hi, it's great to join you. Thank you for having me, as always. Great to be back.
Absolutely, and happy Women's History Month.
Yes, happy Women's History Month. Shout out to all the ladies out there doing their thing, getting the bag, and doing it with a smile, making somebody else's life better.
Yeah. Absolutely, I love it. Absolutely. So, Kelsey, last time we talked, you were headed to the Super Bowl. I saw some amazing pictures. One of the Kelsey brothers.
Sonia, my phone is full.
You had an amazing time. Oh my gosh.
We did. What happens in New Orleans? No, New Orleans was amazing. Honestly, I think one of the best host cities. Like they can, toot their own horn. Like it was so good. And I think what really made me excited about New Orleans is how safe I felt. Like everybody remembers what happened in New Orleans back on New Year's. But like literally everywhere you walked, there was like a state trooper, there was military presence, there were guns drawn. And I don't know, it's almost scary though, right? Like I felt safe, but also like it's scary that it also had to be like that for, just to ensure safety. But New Orleans, like I said, it was a great time. So many great people. Like it was a party everywhere. I ate way too much food because that is New Orleans culture. Like they fed us well. There was crawfish everywhere, jambalaya everywhere. And then just the athletes, the agents. It's like a family reunion, and seeing so many great folks. And then I met so many new ones. So I'm always just thankful and grateful, to have experience that almost a month ago, which is wild.
It's almost a month ago. I'm talking about time is flying. We are in the beginning of March already. Almost spring. So yeah. And spring forward this coming up Sunday.
Oh no, don't say that.
Which is my favorite time of the year.
So like I teach an 8 a.m. class. So like the spring forward is like
it'll be dark. I love this. My favorite time.
My students, man, we got to get through the rest of the semester.
Yep, my favorite time of the year. So, Kelsey, we're just going to go ahead and get started. So, in your neck of the woods, the San Francisco 49ers have traded star wide receiver Deebo Samuel to the Washington Commanders. Samuel has spent his entire NFL career with the 49ers since being drafted in 2019. He will go in as the number 2 receiver for the Commanders behind Terry McLaurin. The deal will be pretty official on March 12th. So, Kelsey, what are your thoughts on this trade, and what do you think motivated the Commanders to pursue a trade for Deebo?
I think there's a couple things. The Commanders had cap space, right? Like entering in. And so that was important because your team can't do anything if you don't have a lot of cap space. Yeah. And then, of course, the draft is always, it's a gamble, right? You're hoping what you see on film, you're hoping what you see in college will translate to the National Football League, right? And I think the Commanders, you think about how far they got, right? They were a game away from the Super Bowl. I mean, this team really came and shook up the NFC. I think what a lot of people were looking at, it was multiple things for the Commanders, that why people felt like they didn't get over that hump and get to the Super Bowl. And again, in DC, there was a lot of folks that thought they could. But just Jaden Daniel, right? JD5, like someone who has revived a city, revived a franchise, him needing another sure weapon. And so Scary Terry coming off another historic season. I think Terry McLaurin is one of the most underrated wide receivers in football. I'm so glad to see him get more flowers. And by the way, shout out to Terry Terry, who recently got married. We love to see
Yes,
it
he did.
on the field and a man getting it done with love. Absolutely want to shout out him for doing that. But Terry was the most sure wide receiver. And you look at Washington, you look at what Jaden Daniels can do. He can get the ball down the field. Washington had been waiting for a quarterback that could do that. He can scramble, right, when he needs to. But pushing the ball and making sure he has guys to rely on, especially when he was, the offensive line in Washington got tested. People wanted to get to him. Now, not all of them a lot of them weren't successful. Jaden made them he was on the better end of the highlight tape. But what they needed was somebody else that was sure. So, you look at somebody like, Noah Brown, who you guys remember that infamous catch against the Chicago Bears and the Commanders really winning that game. Sorry, I had to bring that one up. But you remember that catch?
It was beautiful. It was beautiful. But that's when we started losing. We had a 4 winning streak
both
because of that
teams
game.
Went, that was a determining game. Washington really went and really started just really upward track, and people starting to believe. And Chicago went the other way. So you're so right. That was such a defining game. But Noah Brown, you think about him this season, he was great, but then he got injured. De'Ami Brown, who there was questions about him, right? And started to step up, but it wasn't consistent, right? It wasn't consistent. You had Zach Ertz at the tight end spot, and again, tight end play. Right. And I was such a big fan of him. But the tight end spot, you always want that strong, but in Washington to really have the offense working, you need another solid wide receiver, right? You had McCaffrey as well, who they tried to use in different ways in Washington. So essentially, though, there wasn't another big name, right? There wasn't another guy that, again, for sure could catch the football the way Terry McLaurin can. Like when you throw the ball Terry's way, more than likely he's going to beat you and he's going to catch the football. There was a couple defenders that were able to limit Terry, but for the most part, Terry had a great season this year. So I think we had somebody, like a Deebo who, again, I also was coming off a year that I think he knows he could have did better. There were some things happening in San Francisco. Jaden has made it, Sonia. So people want to come to Washington and people want to play with this young quarterback. They know he can get the ball to them. They know he can help the stats. Know that he gives you, if he gets you the ball and then someone like Deebo that can create some space and run, it can be something magical. So honestly, I think he fits into the scheme and what's happening, what's being built here in Washington. And then I think you take away some of those double teams and stuff like that on Terry now, when you have another threat, another weapon, which opens your offense that much more. So I think, everybody in Washington knew they needed another wide receiver. I think some people were looking at the draft, but I'll tell you, Adam Peters is one of the most popular guys right now in Washington for what he is helping to build. Especially on offense. And remember, we're talking about a Washington team that for a long time, this franchise, there was a lot of questions on offense before JD5. But finally, it feels like Washington can actually build on offense. Cliff Kingsbury, right, staying in motion, staying in town. I'm excited for what this can be. So all in all, to say people are excited and feeling like, I know the Eagles are coming off a Super Bowl win, but they're saying, watch out for Washington, because on paper, they are getting the right necessary and making the right improvements.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. So how does Samuel trade affect the NFC East landscape and the Commanders' playoff hopes?
I think it is a lot, because let's be honest, the Eagles, why? I mean, and I'm not taking away anything from Jalen Hurts. I think I'm one of his biggest proponents. I've always said he's underrated. He never got the respect that he deserves. And honestly, I still don't get, even after winning a Super Bowl, that he's getting the respect.
Still not getting his flowers like he should. Yeah.
Yeah, but I know he plays in a tough city, right? In Philly and Philly fans, and there's a whole thing there. I think with Deebo, like I said, when you have another sure threat in Washington, on paper, we knew the Eagles looked good last year. They lived up to it. Now on paper, Washington looks really good. And now I think when people know that JD5, he's shown us in his rookie season, folks. We only saw his rookie season. Just think about how much more electric he's probably going to be in too, right? Once you have a full year under your belt. Yeah. It's going to be a problem. I think you have to prepare for Washington differently now, right? Like before on offense, Washington was unique, right? They had the running backs. They had Brian Robinson. They had Austin Eckler. They could also be used, to do those short catch and runs, and found some success in that. But with Deebo, you can be a lot more creative. And somebody like Cliff Kingsbury, who many credit as an offensive genius, I think you just open up so many more avenues and you make it that much harder for the defense. And so I think what Deebo does is he makes Washington a team you do have to take seriously. Because some folks that might be saying, oh, Washington just got lucky last year. They just hit the right stride. But now it's serious business in Washington. Washington is standing on business with people, and they're paying him a lot of money to do what they think they know he can do. So I think you look at this Washington team differently. You prepare for them differently. I'm excited to see when the rankings come out. If Washington isn't in your top, I'm going to say 10 in the NFC. Honestly, I'll say even top. I'm just going to be out there. I don't think even top 5. Right? I know the defense has some questions. Washington is a team that you do have to take and prepare for seriously. So again, I think this is probably the most Washington has ever been talked about in terms of, potential
In a
postseason.
long time.
A long time. And that
Yeah.
and being there, again, it adds, because everyone knew Terry's going to do his job, right? Terry's Mr. Right. He's going to always do what you need him to do. But every Mr. Right, needs a partner that can also do the same and give it back to them, reciprocate it. And I think that's what Deebo will hopefully help to do. And I think he'll have better numbers, again, with a guy like JD5 throwing him the football.
It's gonna be interesting. I gotta text Fred Smoot because I know he is over the moon right now.
Oh my God. And Fred's reaction is probably gonna be great.
I know. I cannot wait. Speaking of, so how does Deebo Samuel's personality and playing style influence the morale of the team on and off the field?
I think that's what I'm most interested in, because Washington, like what they really held their head on last year was the locker room culture that they were going to build, right? And they kind of embraced that every week. They kind of went into it just, like, we're going to play Washington football. People can doubt us all they want, but like, we're going to stay true to it. Right. And, from Dan, from Dan Quinn wearing the backwards hat, which I absolutely love. He's like the old guy that's cool, right? Like, right. And I think the players embrace that, right? Like, they just love him, right? And then and a culture that needed to be turned around. I think with Deebo, though, again, like you said, he's going to be number 2, right? And again, we know he's coming from a situation with the 49ers where it just seemed like it wasn't, didn't seem like everything was, jolly good.
Right.
He's going to have to find a way, again, to work with Terry. He's also going to have to remember, as much praise as we give Jaden Daniels, he's still young. He is still young.
Very young.
Learning. And so I think there will still be some growing pains. Great quarterback. But again, there's sometimes that you're like, okay, I see the youthfulness in him, right? Even though we know his ceiling is so high. So I think there's going to have to be some patience there. And again, he's going to be new and input, right? Like, Washington's going to have to try to fill things out with him, right? To try to make it work. Like, I can point to, I know it's not the same positions, but even with Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, right? It had to grow. It had to get to that point. So I think everything, it sounds good, but I think it's going to have to be a patience level. I think this is where, training camp and all that type of stuff will be so important. And some of that voluntary stuff maybe needs to not be voluntary, right? If you want to start to build that chemistry and grow. Yeah. I think it's really going to be on him, to get what he wants to put out. Because again, there's a lot of conversation about him right now, Sonia, right? And people wondering, like, what can he still bring? What's going to be the next iteration? And like I said, Washington took a big bet on him with what they're pulling, what they will have to pay for his salary. So it's going to be, up to him. But I think I do like a personality. I do think that can be good for a locker room. But again, I think what was so special about Washington is, like, every man truly cared and loved about each other, and no one was above. And think about Jaden Daniels gets praised for just like his calm, cool, collective personality. And he showed, glimpses of excitement, but like, he's serious. I think, like, if Deebo's able to bring that focused mentality into Washington, and a team, again, that when nobody else believed they did, I think it can be special.
Well, they're going to be a must see football team for sure. The NFC East has gotten extra interesting, so we'll see.
Yeah, finally, right? Because again, I'm old enough to remember. I worked for the NFC East. They were the Washington football team. But Sonia, I worked for them when they were the laughingstock of the league. When they went to the playoffs with a losing record. Like, so to see them go from that, right, at one, like, only so long ago, to what they are now, and the Eagles winning, right, the Commanders being up there. We'll see what happens with Dak and the Cowboys, and I don't know about the Giants. The Giants are still trying to figure it out. Like, when I heard that they were Rodgers, I'm like, come on, Giants! Like, let's get the quarterback right. So all that to say, but the top 2 and the NFC East are, the top 2, but are they real? I'm gonna say top 2, but not 2, because I think they can, honestly go with like top 2 in a lot of divisions in the National Football League. So I would just say, watch out for the NFC East, and don't think Philly don't want to run it back. So it's going to be very fun.
Oh yeah, it's going to be interesting, very interesting, and we will be watching. So we're going to move on to the next topic. Donald Trump proposes pardon for Pete Rose, nicknamed Charlie Hustle, who voluntarily accepted a permanent place on baseball's ineligible list. And in 1990, he was, Rose was entered a plea of guilty to 2 charges of filing false income tax returns. So we're going to basically focus on the pardon. Kelsey, what is your overall opinion on the proposed pardon for Pete Rose?
Where do I start with this? I will say this. I live in Washington, D.C. there is so much happening right now, and I'm not trying to make this a political show.
Right.
There are so many important things happening right now. I'm working in a city where there's a lot of people who have federal jobs. I unfortunately know a lot of people who have been impacted by job cuts, a lot of people who don't know where their next meal is going to come from, how they're going to pay tuition for their child school. A pardon with someone as controversial as this, so it was all the way in the back of my mind. Like, so
What
I
do
say,
you think about it? Yeah.
and, just with the tensions, honestly, in the country, like I do a lot. I go a lot of places in the city. I meet a lot of international people as well. Like, it's a very interesting time to live in Washington, D.C. right now, right? A lot of opinions, a lot of these things happening. All that to say, if he wanted to do it, I guess good for him. But should this have been done? Did it need to be done? I say no. Like,
What's interesting to me is like everybody who is breaking the law and doing bad things, he's partying.
They get rewarded. That's what I'm saying. So, like, what does it do? And it's like a consistent
our kids.
It's a consistent message being sent, right? Like, we're seeing players now get in trouble in all sports for gambling and betting, right? We're rewarding somebody. And then if you even want to go further into some more serious accusations, like, that's why I said it's just some things that it's like words can't even fully convey. But what I will say though, I hope the important needs of people and inflation and people not being able to afford things and like things that really do matter in everyday Americans' lives, I really do hope those things get prioritized and pardoning somebody like this, because there's real issues going on for everyday people, taxpaying people, we're just trying to get by.
I can't hardly feed my baby Nova Grace egg because eggs are so high.
I'm not even eating eggs now. Like, just give me some bacon and some toast. Forget the eggs.
I was trying to be carb free, but that's a good idea. How important is it for Pete Rose to be reinstated into the Major League Baseball, given his accomplishments on the field?
I get that, right? Legend on the baseball field. It's about to be baseball season, right? We're preparing here, right? Spring training, all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I mean, I just think about a lot of athletes and how often do we separate? I mean, how often do we separate greats from like what they've done? Karl Malone, O.J. Simpson, and again, I know there's like just different things, but it's like who do we really separate for and from, right? And so that's kind of it's interesting. I think like if you do just want to look at the baseball accolades, if you just want to look strictly at the baseball accolades, like obviously it's a legend. He's a legend. Like,
yeah,
I mean, I don't need his stat. Like if you know the story, you know the story, and I won't go through all the stats. But like I just don't like the selective kind of pardons, right? I mean, that's a question we had about the Hall of Fame this year, right? I mean, like why Terrell Suggs did not get in first ballot, Sonia, is beyond my mind. But I know there's been some things, in the past, with domestics and, you could just say different things maybe as to why, right? But again, how often are people able to separate the man or woman, right? Because in both instances, the man or woman,
right.
from things. So I say all that to say, like I said, it's interesting, like for baseball wise. I guess I'll say for baseball wise, sure, but he has a full story that needs to be told and that we can't forget. That's just.
And I understand that we show, because God shows us grace. He gives us brand new mercies every day.
For sure.
We should show grace. However, at the same time, if you're just pardoning criminals because of a certain skin color, or, it's just interesting. A lot of this stuff is going on. I mean, in that case, R. Kelly should be let free too, because
that's something. What precedent do you set, right? And it's like we both could sit here and say R. Kelly had some banging music, and he does, right? He did.
But Kelsey, not to cut you off.
I'm just saying you can't separate though.
You can't separate it because someone said the other day, I don't listen to R. Kelly. I said, you sure about that? Oh, I'm absolutely sure. I said, sweetheart, he wrote most of the songs you listen to.
People forget that. He was a talented.
You need to just turn your radio off because he wrote everything just about. Besides Babyface, him and Babyface.
And Babyface is another one. That's why we were mad he got disrespected on the carpet like he did, right?
Period.
Like, it's so true. I don't know. There's too many great athletes too that have done stuff, right? That deserve to get their shine. But again, I'm not great ball player, but like we all make decisions in life, and you're absolutely right about God and the Bible. But life does have, every action has a consequence. Every action has a reaction. And again, I just, we live in a world now where it's so confusing, I think, for young kids. Because at
It's
one
so
point,
confusing.
good and don't be bad, but at the same time, we're upholding and praising people, right, who do wrong.
I don't
So
get it. I don't
depends how
get
many
it.
messages. It's an interesting world, I will say, to live in right now.
Interesting. I kind of want to ask this question. You kind of
Mhm.
answered it already. I'm gonna move on.
Okay.
What message? Well, you kind of answered that too. Well, what message do you think a pardon for Pete Rose will send to the rest of the sports world?
I think it's sent what we're talking about. That's why it's controversial right now.
It's so weird.
People are literally just, I think they're confused. I think the timing was interesting. The why was interesting. And again, I think, sports is not to remove from politics for, again, people to be like, again, there's some serious stuff happening. Like there's a
Correct.
big divide in this country. There was already one, but like, it's like kind of the make it make sense.
Mhm.
I'm one, like, I want everybody to do their jobs to the top that they can do. I hate to see people hurting. I really do.
Yeah.
I have a humanitarian heart. I have a good heart, I like to believe. And this being a topic of conversation, like I said, right now is just, what's the song? Things that make you go, That's what I'll say. Things that make
It's
you go,
weird.
That's what I'm trying to take the high road. These things that make you go, kind of like, why are we here? So I get mixed messages, controversial, and there's just so many other things. Like there's a lot of athletes I would love just to be talking about and uplifting. Like you said, it's Women's History Month,
Yeah.
but here we are.
Here we are.
Here we are.
Here we are. We're gonna move on. It's whatever. I mean, he's definitely a legend on the field, but
Right,
uh,
and I'm not taking anything away
yeah,
from
and I right, I know, but whatever.
like that takes a lot. So I'm not taking anything away from that. But again, if we're going to talk about him, we have to tell the full story and include
The full
everything.
story, exactly. Period. That's true. We're gonna move on. This made me sad, but I was happy for him at the same time. Legendary Hall of Famer Coach Jimmy Johnson has announced his retirement from Fox
Just
Sports
know this,
after
yeah.
31 years. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna miss him so much because he is hilarious and
They have so much chemistry together. That's
so much
kind of like why
chemistry.
we were sad about the NBA Today crew, right? And then like luckily we found out
I
we'll get a little bit more
know.
of them. But like when you watch people for so long, that becomes your norm. And like I said,
It's
that
been
chemistry,
on since 1994. I mean,
that's basically as long as
31
I've
years.
lived. As long as I've lived, essentially it's been
Yes,
it's
that's
been
true.
amazing. So it's
It's
wild and it's crazy, but I know all good things come to an end. But I think he's leaving the show on a high road. He
yeah,
will be missed though. Like he will be missed. I hope they find a way to bring him in for like snippets or guest segments
that
or
would be
something.
great.
Like don't just fully
Sitting
go.
on the couch drinking a beer, that would be great.
Zoom him in. There's too much technology now just to fully let him go.
Yeah.
But he can't be the one that got away. Like it just, you know, and what they built, like people, it's not easy to build that. Like it takes
Mhm.
time,
It
it
takes
takes
time.
trust, right? Like, your personality, like you have to let people in.
Right.
That show was just good. Like talk about like if I was a producer for a show, that would definitely be one. Like
Hmm.
literally, I feel like the job does itself. Like they're just talented, they're fun, and they really just became part of our football Sundays. So
That's
he'll
true.
be missed.
So, what what role did Jimmy Johnson play in shaping the coverage of the NFL, and how did his presence influence Fox Sports football programming?
I think I liked him because he was like uncensored. Just mean like he would say what was on his mind. Like,
Yeah.
and I think we went from like kind of sports media where it's like just the facts to like, and
Mhm.
now I try to talk to this with my students, but like now you really can kind of insert your opinion, right? And like, but opinion
Mhm.
with facts, right? That he's basing it off of, and obviously with his background, like who better to do it, right? I mean,
Right.
loved his Cowboys.
Yes.
Like, and brought that like fun and like I said, you just knew who he was.
Yeah.
I feel like I appreciated that realness and like I think that's what I try to be like, just real. Like when Kelsey's coming on, like people just know like she's gonna be herself, she's gonna be fun, like
Right.
I think that's kind of what he helped to do. And so I think just being you, and letting people accept it whether they liked it or not. So I thought that was really really big.
It really was. And it's interesting how, I mean, because he was the oldest on the show, he just pretty much said what was on his
I
mind.
love old
So
people
that
though, because
was
they
fun
do.
too, because we have uncles and grandparents that, my mom, she's 83 now, so she really lets us. And people are like, Mama, don't worry about it. I was just, so she
Man,
tells what's on her
that's why
mind.
I love older people, because they do.
I do
They have
too.
no filter.
No, children and older people, they tell the truth.
Yeah, if you want to ask, like, hey, do I look big? Do I look good? Like, ask one of them, because they go, oh
They will
baby.
tell you. Oh my gosh, they will. So, as we know, Jimmy was known for his football acumen and candidness. How did his insight into the game help shape the way fans view NFL analysis?
Oh, so much. I mean, he brought it. I mean, he knew it, right? At the top level. So I feel like, from coach and like everybody, like I said, when he talked, you listened, right?
Yeah.
And you listened and you learned. And I think he was able to break down the way where an avid fan, but also a new fan was excited, right? And can understand it. And I think there's a lot to be learned from him. And like I said, but still did it in his own way. And so I think, it's a lot of the young folks that are coming up that want to be like an analyst. I'd say if you want to look on just like how to be you and how to let people like explain in a way, but also I think it was great. He never tried to overtake the show either. Like, always let other guys cut in, and like, I think what made it so good with them. Like, no one tried to really dominate. Like, right. They all lean on each other. And so I think
they
that's
were real brothers. They,
like it was a shared give and take. And I appreciated that. I mean, like I said, he made football like Sundays fun. It's kind of like on CBS. I missed the original with James Brown and Boomer. Bill, like I do. I miss it.
I do too. It
had a different camaraderie.
Yeah, it was a different camaraderie. I know.
I do like Nate. The addition of Nate Burleson was good, but I missed
yeah. Remember the day when they told Jimmy that he was in the Hall of Fame?
That was so special. Yes, and how
emotional. I cried. Oh my, because he was so like, he was looking at them like for real, and they allowed his TV brothers to tell him. So it was really, really very special and very beautiful. Now, if they were saying Mike was retiring, I would have fell out today. I mean, I'm sad about Jimmy, but I really just watched Good Morning America.
Another good one right now. Like, let us get to the 2025 football season, and then maybe drop something else.
Yeah, I can't take it. I just would not be able to take it. If you had to summarize Jimmy Johnson's influence on Fox Sports in one sentence, how would you put it?
Ooh, this is a good one. I'm gonna just do one word: influential.
Yeah,
influential.
He
was I mean, and it was like I said, he normalized it being you, in a world that, and like I said, loved it or hated it, like he was him, and showed his love for his team, right? Like, you can't talk about your team that you love. You gotta be like, he did it in a way, but still was like, would give the real on everything else. So I'm gonna say influential.
It's hard to be unbiased about your teams. I know I'm supposed to just talk. It's so hard. It's hard, especially, but I get it. I don't know, whatever. So I wish Mr. Jimmy Johnson well. I'm so happy for him. I hope he has an amazing retirement, spending time with his family, his grandkids, and traveling. Yeah, and just sitting on the couch, critiquing the games from
keeping that pretty hair gray.
Exactly. I hate to finish our show on a sad note, but on March 1st, we lost an R&B soul legend, Angie Stone, to a fatal car accident.
Yeah.
The R&B world has been everybody has just been swirling because this was, well, of course it wasn't expected, but she was on her way to a CIAA tournament game to perform. And she was so excited. A few weeks ago, she put on her page telling her soror she was a member of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated, and telling them that she had something special for them at the game. And, she was really excited. And I don't know. It's everybody's been giving their reaction, and it's been just sadness. So, Kelsey, what do you think was Angie Stone's most significant contribution to the music industry?
Oh my gosh. I will say this first. This one hit me because I was wrapping up my American University women's basketball game. It was my last game of the regular season. And this was my first CIAA tournament. So like I didn't actively with them, and I missed the women's championship. And I was like, okay, I'm going to leave DC and get to Baltimore for the men's championship. I was excited, not just for the game, but Angie Stone. Sonia was performing. My phone's on Do Not Disturb during the basketball games, right? Rightfully so. I turn on my
Mhm.
phone and all I get is a flurry of text. Kelsey, Angie Stone died. And I'm like, wait a minute. Not Angie Stone, right? So, I do my due diligence. I'm like, wait, there's
Right,
no
right.
people send me links. I'm like, no, let me check myself because, let me make sure let me make sure it's accurate. And sure enough, I saw that. Then I see an email from the CIAA, an official statement. I'm like, oh my gosh, like this really happened. And then,
Yeah.
I'm like, dang, she died on the way coming here to
Oh
perform
my
here
God.
in this area. It was heartbreaking. I will tell you, one of the most influential shows I watched growing up was Girlfriends.
Yes.
I love me some Girlfriends. If you remember Girlfriends, Maya was my favorite girlfriend. Like I remember like it was yesterday. And that theme song. Remember, I came up in an era where theme songs were like hit.
Yes. It was the business. Yeah.
Like, and I would sing that all the time. And what she embodied, even that theme song. Why I like Girlfriends, it showed a group of like just Black women in their own powers. And I was young
Yeah.
watching that. I was like, oh my gosh, like these women are like beautiful, most successful, and finding themselves, like, who they are, what they want, like, and
True
I,
sisterhood. Yeah.
yes, and that too, like your girl, like really your girlfriends. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, I think we've moved away from that society. But that's a whole other question. That's a whole
Mhm.
other combo. But like
Yeah.
your real girls. And then the theme song I would always say in my head, and I don't Angie, like, and then even just like neo soul and like, and just I come from an era like I miss true R&B, Sonia, like I
Yes.
do. She was one of those like true ones, and then even I remember like the whole what she got with D'Angelo, and I mean, she did things her way. But I
Yeah.
think her greatest musical, I mean, she gave us and other people realize her influence is on so much. And I think what hurts me the most, honestly, to your question, is that she doesn't get enough credit. Like I saw one of the last videos she did before she passed was like trying to get her royalties for stuff. And
That's horrible.
that broke my heart.
That's
Like
horrible.
a
That,
legend like the Angie Stone fighting for her royalties. Like,
and said that she was told if she had the money that they stole from her because they stole it, she could have retired 20 years ago.
and that's what hurt me. And she's still, I
43,
thought
she could have
about it. And I was
retired.
like, what? She was 63, still
She's,
performing. And she was in Alabama, right? Coming from there. And then I just think what she embodied, like even just strong brother. I can't sing for my life.
brother,
But like
yeah, I
her
love that song.
when you hear it, it puts you in a mood. And I'm somebody like I can't sing for my life, like I said. But like when I'm in a mood, like Angie Stone's on my playlist. Like she just
Yes,
it puts me because I have such a hectic life, she puts me in a calm. Her music is
yeah,
always calm. And just to know, like, even her music will still live on, that like she's no longer able to be here. And that it hurt me the most, like reading she was the only one to die in that crash too. It's
that's
just like,
crazy. Out of 9 people,
I mean, and obviously you don't want anybody to die. You don't want anybody to get hurt, but
no,
like
absolutely not. But
it
it's just,
was I'm still in shock because I still have that
yeah,
email. Like I couldn't remember and I have people texting me from this morning, like, hell, Angie's, I'm like, what? Like,
that's
it just
crazy.
seems unreal. Like, I'm like, there's no way, that and it's sad, but I think, we take our legends for granted. And I think she's one, like I said, I think so many of us now probably wish we lifted her up way more, fought for her to be
Right.
lifted way more. Cause again, when you think about just good music, that real music, not auto tune, all that stuff that people have now, like just true, good, soulful music. And I think too, at her
Yeah.
time, too, wasn't appreciated. She was a brown skin, full figure, thick sister. Again, I think that showed like you can love
Natural hair. Yeah.
natural hair the way you are. Like I wish we could go back to that era. I
Me
really do.
too.
Like
I
it was
really
it was a
do.
special
I,
era.
I I really, I totally agree with you. What do you think Angie's artistry represented in terms of empowering women in music?
Oh my gosh, so much. Like I said, I think the way
Mhm.
that she came in, like I mean, she was in her class of her own, right? I think
Mhm.
like I said, her music, I think, like I said, she wasn't afraid to like express herself. And I think, so often as women, like we're told, like you can't be this way or you can't do that. That's not ladylike,
Mhm.
right? Like, and your emotions, especially as Black women, like you got to be strong, right? You can't let your emotions flow.
Yeah.
I think she kind of began to normalize that. I said her music, it does something. Like you can't listen to an Angie Stone song and like not, unless like you just have no feelings, like
Yeah.
not feel away. I'm so grateful that I had a chance to listen to her music. For the young folks, if they haven't, Sonia, I
Mhm.
hope they go listen because it's everything's so readily accessible now. And I would love to just ask
Right.
them, like, how do you feel now? Like, I mean, because music does that to you, right? That's why we
It
love music.
does.
you. Like you listen, like whenever mood you're in, you kind of put a song that kind of like matches that mood, or you'll play an opposite song to get you out of a mood, right? Like
right, that's
try to
true.
lift you up.
Yeah,
Like,
when you upset, you can't play. Y'all gonna make me lose my mind.
there you go. Right.
You
Look.
need the soothing voice of Angie Stone. It's like when she's saying, you can hear her say "baby" at the end, like "okay, baby," because her voice, when she talks, she sounds like, even though she was young, she sounded like a grandma or
Yes, she
a
had a mature
mom.
voice. Like
Yes,
I hate we lost her.
I do too. Wow. How do you think Angie Stone's legacy will continue to shape the future of R&B music even after her passing?
I just hope real R&B comes back, honestly. Like I said,
Yes,
it's
God.
like, this is no offense to the artist now, right? Because look, I will still play the artist now, but and I guess like you could argue, there was a fight a while ago, right, where they're talking about the real king of R&B. And I guess like the closest now, I mean, I know Usher's still putting songs out, and I guess Chris Brown could be in that category, but still so much like pop. But like, I guess, yeah, Chris Brown would be the closest. But like,
Wait a minute.
That era is gone. And like I said, I mean, for me, I'm a 90s R&B, 2000s R&B person, right? Like that's what I grew up on. That's what I love. Like I will still go play me some Joe when I play Joe a lot. Like when I need to.
But he's not the king of R&B though.
No, he's not. But I guess
Whitney Houston told all of us.
Right? You can't put a king though right now, because what music are you what music are you
No, but I'm talking about overall.
Oh, overall, yes. I was talking about right now though. They were fighting.
No, right now. Oh yeah.
It was like Chris Brown fighting and
Chris Brown.
Who's the other one?
Oh, but Whitney Houston told us who the king of R&B was. That's Bobby Brown.
I like Bobby. Look, yeah, but young kids. She's not talking about Bobby Brown now.
Yeah, I'm talking about overall. Yeah,
yeah, but we don't get that.
We don't. You're right.
And again, music now is different, and I understand everything kind of has to play its role, and everything changes. But like it used to be, like you really had to be like talented to like
you had to sing live.
Yes.
Correct.
Like no one was helping you. Like you had to have the talent. Nowadays, and again, it's no disrespect to anybody now, but like there's so many things now, that can like help somebody, and like they can shape you into like being, what they want you to be. So, I think Angie, and like I said, and she came from like, because I'm like I love SWV. Like I mean, like Angie had her own unique rightful place. Like I said, and I love that, like what she represented. Like I said, for what like. Nowadays, so many people look alike, Sonia, in the music industry, because that's what they want, this like look.
So many of them.
She had her own unique, distinct look and did things her way. And so if anyone takes away anything from the show, like please like continue to give Angie her flowers. I wish she got more while she was here.
Yeah.
I'm praying for her family, but I hope on Spotify,
the people on
the people on the bus with her, praying for them. Like, but I hope her music is streamed like none other, because like if people aren't familiar, like get familiar, because I mean we lost a queen. We really did. Lost a queen. May she rest in peace.
May she rest in peace. We'll definitely miss her. Oh, wow. Well, sis, we play a little game.
Oh, that's right.
And it's called What You Know. And we will discuss Angie Stone tonight.
Oh, man.
Little Q&A with Angie. Song did Angie Stone sample on her hit I Wish I Didn't Miss You? Was it The Backstabbers by the OJs? Be Thankful for What You Got by William Devon? Lovely Day by Bill Withers? Or Nothing for Nothing by Billy Preston?
Say the original question again for me.
The original one?
Yeah, the original question you said.
Oh, what song did Angie Stone sample on her hit I Wish I Didn't Miss You? I can't eat, I can't sleep anymore.
Yeah, I love that. What song did she sample?
So was it OJ, the Backstabbers by the OJs?
I can like sing that song in my head and I can sing it, but I can't. I'm gonna be bad at this one.
That's okay. It was Backstabbers by the OJs.
I like me some OJs. So
yeah, listen to that. You'll hear it. Yeah, check that one out. True or false? Was Angie Stone in a hip hop group?
Oh, dang! I actually don't know if I know this. I don't. But that was the girl group era. Dang! Maybe I don't know all my Angie Stone. I feel like that was the girl group era, but I'm gonna say no.
You're saying false?
I'm gonna say false.
Are you saying false?
Now you made me fuck. I should say true.
No, I'm asking you. I'm trying to make sure.
I don't remember her being part of a girl group, but I know that was the girl group era. But I'm gonna trust my gut and say false.
You don't remember because you were with Jesus. Yes, she's a hip hop pioneer in the late 70s and was a part of a group called The Sequence.
I should have known because that was the girl group era.
It was one of the first female rap groups ever.
Okay, so I should have trusted my gut because I said that was the girl group. I said that was the girl group era, so I should have known. But yes, I'm familiar with it.
Yep. This song is about how Angie sees the American male community and tells us how much she appreciates them. Is it a better man, real man, brother, or to be a man?
That is my favorite brother.
Song, man. Oh yeah, I love that song.
Love it. Every black man should play that. Okay.
Exactly. Who did Angie have a relationship with in the 1990s and welcomed their son, Michael Archer? Was it Common, KRS-One, Method Man, or D'Angelo?
It is D'Angelo, but I wouldn't be surprised if Common tried to creep in there.
You know what? I see her more with KRS-One because of his political voice. I would have seen them together more. But
she was with D'Angelo like right when he was becoming a heartthrob, right?
Oh yeah, she was like he mine. That's
what everybody loved them some D'Angelo.
Absolutely. And we've already did it, but I still want to do it. What iconic theme song did Angie Stone sing for a TV sitcom? Was it Living Single, Martin, Girlfriends, or Half and Half?
Can I just say all of those are iconic? I will rank them.
all of those.
Girlfriends, the Half and Half is right. I love the Half and Half thing.
I still watch it every day. Every song, every show I just named, I watch at least once a week.
Those were the classics too. So just take me back to that time frame.
Take me back.
I don't need my smartphone and stuff. Like that was a good time to be.
It was such a good time. It really, really was. Speaking of good time, thank you, Kelsey, for always having a good time with me on the show. Tell the listeners how they can follow you on social media. Listen In with KNN, and yeah.
Awesome, thank you. Well, I am on social media. The easiest way, check out my website, KelseyNicoleNelson.com. My social handle, The Real K Nelson. I Listen In With KNN. Check it out on YouTube as well as anywhere you listen to your favorite audio show podcast. Look at us on iTunes, Spotify, and check out our website, ListenInWithKNN.com. And also, if there's any young people, I have a virtual internship, and I'm now interviewing for our summer internship. So please reach out to me. It is quickly filling up, but I have a couple more spots left. So again, all the information on ListenInWithKNN.com. So again, always a pleasure to join you. To all my Mississippi folks, hey, can't wait.
Absolutely, y'all reach out to her. She will teach you some things. That would be great. Great, that's great on your resume. And guys, you can follow me. She Say Sports on Facebook. She Say Sports 23 on Instagram. And please subscribe to our YouTube page. She Say Sports. Well, that's our show for today. Until next time, this is Sonia and Kelsey Korner saying bye-bye and see you next time. Peace.
She say sports. She say sports. She say sports. She say sports.